Week 13 of the fantasy football season. Here's a few quarterbacks I have as sleepers this week. The first quarterback, Tua, of the Miami Dolphins. Tua's had some decent games this season. Miami's coming off a bye, and this week a good matchup coming up versus the New Orleans Saints, where we know they're one of the worst teams in the league, and their defense can't stop anyone. So like I said, the last couple weeks haven't been great for Tua. Up and down type of year. Week 9 versus Baltimore, 261 pass yards and interception. Week 10 versus Buffalo, 173 pass yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 INTs. And Week 11 versus the Commanders, only 171 passing yards. So this week, like I said, a pretty good matchup. New Orleans coming in. They're coming off the bye. Possibly Darren Waller will be in the lineup as well, which is another good playmaker in this offense for this Dolphin team. And Tua is out there in tons of fantasy leagues in 82%. And a sleeper option this week, the next quarterback, Tyrod Taylor of the New York Jets. So Tyrod Taylor, back being the starter last week, he was for this New York Jet team. And he had a mediocre ball game at Baltimore, 222 pass yards, a touchdown, interception, and 19 rush yards. So this week, middle of the pack matchup, Atlanta Falcons coming in. And this Falcon defense, they do give up a lot of points, but they do cause a lot of turnovers and get to the quarterback. But Tyrod Taylor, he's a quarterback that's been a veteran in this league. I know he's been a backup for a reason, but I think this week versus Atlanta, if you're in a pinch, even though it's a full slate of games, he's out there in 97% of fantasy leagues. And the final quarterback, Tyler Shough of the New Orleans Saints. So this Miami Dolphin defense hasn't been good all season long for the most part. And Shough now, he's got 4 starts under his belt in the NFL with Shough. So Week 9 at Los Angeles, 176 pass yards, a touchdown, interception. Week 10 at the Panthers, 282 pass yards, 2 touchdowns. And Week 12 versus the Falcons, 243 pass yards, an interception, 22 rush yards, and a fumble loss. So this week, a good matchup at the Dolphins. Like I said, obviously the weather most likely will be good. Dolphins give up the 9th most fantasy points to quarterbacks on the season. And also, they could be chasing points. Is New Orleans early and often. And they got some decent options in the receiving room. You got Chris Olave. And then obviously as well, you have Juwan Johnson, who's having a nice season at the tight end position. I know Alvin Kamara, he's going to be out in this game, it looks like, for the New Orleans Saints. But I think Devin Neal and Taysom Hill could be decent out of the backfield as well. So with all those factors, and Shough has looked decent at times this season, and it's a game where they're going to have to throw the football, I would think a lot is this New Orleans Saints team. He's a quarterback I have as a sleeper this week, and he's out there in 92% of fantasy leagues. That's a few quarterbacks I have as sleepers for Week 13 of the fantasy football season.